Hello everyone. How's everybody's day going? I just want to give you guys one video of my oval flower bed. This is a 2-year install. What you see here is is the fall display. I will tell you guys what I have moved over here. I do a lot of container garden because I am a full sowing garden. And I have red clay dirt, and I don't always like to dig a hole. This flower bed is, I would say, it is about 30 to 40 feet long and 20 feet wide. The reason why it is so big, I first had 2 red tip petunia trees. They had black spots disease, and they were here when I moved here. I tried to treat those plants with a lot of insecticide soap, with neem oil, and it was an epic fail. At the new growth flushed black spots, and it was just time for those trees to go. So 2 years ago, I finally had those 2 trees chopped down. This Pebble Island is a reminder of where the trees were. I need more pebbles. So I had 1 tree here, and I had the other tree, and these trees was about 8 to 10 feet tall and about 12 feet wide, and that's where the other tree is. I don't know if you paid any attention how far I walked. So these Pebble Islands remind me where the tree was. I had it cut down as low as I could to the dirt, but I did not grind the stump. So I have some great weed cloth above it, and I will be trying to pay attention to any sprouts that may come through. But this is the reason why this flower bed is so wide. And in between the flower bed, there was nothing. So I just wanted to go ahead and make this flower bed this big because I know I'm a plant collector. I knew that's what I was going to do, and I know I wanted to have some containers here. So basically, that is why this flower bed is almost the size of my front yard. What do I have in the ground? And basically, it's in the ground, but it is also a not raised flower bed. It's also one of the flower beds where you just put a lot of dirt and salt. It's where I use the rest of this. I use a sod cutter to cut out this flower bed, and this is pretty much kind of like a raised flower bed. I use those extra pieces of sod to create mounds, and so I really didn't dig any holes for anything that's in the ground. Maybe a few trees are really dug down deep in the ground, in the soil, but most of this is a raised flower bed, mounded from the dirt that I had left from the sod cutter, as well as the sod itself. Again, this is daylilies. I have daylilies on each side of each end of this oval flower bed. I think there is about 5 daylilies here. I could go in and take out all the browning and yellowing grass, but pretty much probably twice this year I have already cut this daylilies back, and they have flushed out new growth. So I definitely did this. I'm thinking sometime in June because I wanted fresh growth around the 4th of July. These are red canna lilies. They are the only canna lilies I have in the raised flower bed in the ground, I'm going to say. And the reason why they look so skimpy is because I had some sun damage and some insect damage. So I cut them all the way back, and this is the growth that I really didn't have to touch. So hopefully we'll get another show from them. This is a Crimson Queen Japanese maple. I have it in the ground and it has been doing so good. I love the shape of it. I purchased it in this shape. I have not done any pruning to it. And as you can see how the leaves, I really didn't have any sunburn on this tree during that heat wave. This shrub back here, I'm not really sure the color of the name, but I love the yellow and green foliage. That there is a blue spruce. When you put this together, you have your Japanese maple, you see the shrub color of the blue spruce as well as the yellow shrub. I want to say it's a false cypress, but probably not. That cypress does get some sunburn, but all you have to do is just cut out the brown leaves and you pretty much, it's a no fuss shrub. This is a pink Rose of Sharon. This is the second year in this flower bed, and it's probably doubled in size. We're only going to talk about what's in the ground first. This is a Baptisia. It received a lot of insect damage. I cut it all the way back in June. It did flush out really well, but a lot of the limbs weren't as strong and they was drooping over, so I did cut down the weeping limbs, and that's all I have left with that Baptisia. This is a Fire Chief Arborvitae. If you want a no fuss shrub, I really haven't had to trim out but one dead branch, and it probably was just a limb. It is, this Fire Chief is mounted this way, and it has year-round beautiful color. This is an Evergreen Arborvitae. Look at the green foliage of this tree. I do treat it with ironite. I do treat it with hollytone. I mainly put just the granules at the base, and as rainwater comes, and sometimes I do water it with the hose. But I really do know that a lot of these trees, sometimes you get your, they turn brown on you. Just treat it as much as you can, even if it's just once a month, with some ironite and some hollytone. That is a Sweet Bay Magnolia. I love the shape of this tree. It is also in the mound. It is a tree going at the base of it, and the limbs don't look the same. I said I was gonna go in and see if I could dig it out and put it in a pot. I really don't know what that is growing at the base of it. I'm not sure if it's another Sweet Bay Magnolia sucker, or is it a tree that the birds brought in? I don't know. But it's not that red tip disease tree I had. So, and these leaves are a lot bigger, so that's what makes me think it's not a Sweet Bay Magnolia. Let me get up a little closer, because maybe someone could make a comment and tell me what this is. See how long those leaves are? And these are the Sweet Bay Magnolia leaves. And it looks like it's about to have a flower as well. Okay, this is a Pittosporum. That is an evergreen. I love this tree. I love the shape of it. As you can see, I probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 trees in this oval flower bed, and they're in the ground. Because I am a plant collector, and because I love the different interests that they bring to the flower bed. And that Rose of Sharon, that makes number 8. And this is a repeat of the yellow shrub I have. It's evergreen as well, and you can see it also has some white tips to it. That is everything I have in the ground. It's a possibility that I might get a blue spruce over here and maybe a Japanese maple, and then I could have a repeat of both ends. What I haven't, and that is another repeat of the daylilies, and they are yellow daylilies. And I had 5, but one didn't survive. and I now only have 4. I know you can split them, but I like the fullness that they bring. See that one, the second one, and the other 3 need to catch up to that one. What I have in my double pot, it was a triple pot what I used last year. One of the bands fell off the smaller pot, and now I'm just down to 2. I have purple fountain grass. I have the queen purple heart, and that was begonias. They are really struggling. And just threw some of these bottles in there, decorative bottles I got from the Dollar Tree. Just threw them in there just for the sake of decorating. The purple fountain grass, the plumes on it is really struggling. We had some wind come through and the rain. That is what plummeted those plumes. But it still has great foliage and it's doing well in the pot. These are 2 long concrete planters. I had my purple hearts in them, but I've moved them to the front of the fence. I have this design with the retaining wall bricks. As you can see how it goes down on just each corner. I have that on the other corner as well. My little bird bath. Now we're going to talk about what's in pots. And I also have a spotlight there, and it spotlight my Sweet Bay Magnolia. It's motion sensor, so at night when the cars go by, it also lights it up. Give them a little something to look at. And be in awe that I even spotlighted. I even have spotlight in my garden. This is an Aptenia in a pot. If you don't, this is a no fuss trailing plant. And look at the pretty little flowers that it produces. Again, it's an Aptenia plant. It reminds me of a cacti because it's drought tolerant. I saturate it with water. I soak this pot with water, and it doesn't hurt it. It doesn't turn it yellow. It just makes the foliage stay green, and the foliage is kind of wax-like. But I love this, but it will never replace my sweet potato vines because we all know sweet potato vines put on a show. I just want to get you guys to get a close-up of this pittosporum. I come in and prune this pittosporum, especially when it has yellow and or brown leaves. Someone comment and let me know what this plant is. This is an evergreen, and this is the 2nd year it's been in this pot, and it's loving it. It survives the winter. It survives. It's year round. So I really would love to know what this plant is. These are my concrete columns. I got them thrifted. And this is a small Greek key planter. What I have, as you can see, I don't have dirt inside of it. Because I probably would change this. I wanted to have the option to change it out easily during the fall without dirt. Because I've heard that when you just plant something in the concrete planters, sometimes with the heat and with the insulation of the concrete, it will burn the root. So I pretty much just have these used nursery pots, and what's in this one is sweet potato, 3 different varieties of sweet potato vines, and in the front is the Super Tunia Vista bubblegum. The reason why you have this size is because I cut it all the way back about 3 weeks ago because I wanted new growth during the fall. I'm going to step back and let you guys see the 3 Cleopatra canna lilies. Again, they're in pots, so I do like a lot of container garden. They're not in the prettiest pots. These are in nursery pots that I actually purchased for my tropicals, my canna lilies and elephant ears. You see the full show. I can easily move them around for different flower beds. and I can easily prune them. I can easily treat them for insects, and so, and I can easily store them away because again, I don't have a greenhouse, and I could easily store them away at the back side of the house, shielded from a lot of the cold, and protect the bulbs. I don't like to do a lot of digging. I have red clay soil, and I really don't like to do a lot of digging. I mean, this, you would have to soak your my soil for probably days before it would be easy to dig a hole, and I just refuse to do that. But I'm enjoying container gardening. These are two Kimberly Queens ferns. This is not where they. This is where they landed for the fall, but I had them close to the house during the 3-degree temps, and that's why they're not really that struggling. I do treat them with ironite and hollytone as well. Look at my cute little garden sign. I love this look. Let me back up and let you guys see. I was trying to do I'm an interior decorator, and I also do weddings and events. So a lot of times I bring that out into the exterior landscape design, and because that's the type of eye I have. This is almost kind of like the center of this oval flower bed, about 30-40 feet wide. Look at how I have the concrete column with the Greek key planter. Look at how you can span back and forth. Just look at that picture. This is what I see when I come out my front door. Okay, and those are vintage Greek key concrete planters. I got them thrifted as well. Both of them were just $40. That was a steal, I know. Most people end up spray painting them white, and or they probably spray paint them black or maybe red. But I was so happy to find these in such great shape and still maintaining the concrete color that it had. That garden sign, I think I got that from Ross. And this is a repeat of what's in the other concrete planter. 3 different variety of sweet potato vines, as well as the Super Tunia Vista bubblegum. Look at that Rose of Sharon and all those buds. Let me try to zoom in so you guys can see all the buds. I really wish, I know I've read so much about how to build up a flower bed. They say sometimes you want to put things in grouping of 3s or grouping of 6s. I really wish I had got more of these Rose of Sharons and put them in a grouping of 3. Like, I have about 10 feet area that I can continue to put plants in. So I'm not sure if I put container plants or I put things in the ground, or I would mound them up and do like the raised garden bed. But I would love to have 2 more of these to put in that area. Again, I have another one of these. I don't know what it is, but it's evergreen. As you can see how tall, you can see the difference. Look at this one. It really has 2 stalks at the bottom, and it has a good height on it. But as you can see, this one, look at how huge that is. That would be a lovely centerpiece, having some trailing plants on the outside if I was to transplant this, but that's not what I'm going to do. That is a spider plant that had a lot of sun damage. I just cut it down all the way to no leaves, and it's flushing back out really good, really good. That, and at the end is another purple fountain grass. I have 2 on each end. This one is where it's gonna land for the fall. But during the summer, I had it over there with the candy lilies. But I'm liking where I put it because as you can see, I have 2 purple fountain grass on each end. And I also repeated the arch of retaining wall bricks. This is a no dig edging. I try to keep things in sight so I could work on them, but that probably will not happen due to my soil. This is a used water fountain. It no longer works, but my mom gave it to me. I told her I could throw it in my flower bed and just throw some. These marbles were from the Dollar Tree, and that just gives it a. That's just some garden structure that it gives me interest, and we repurpose and we reuse it. I have my yoga zen garden structure here. I have my bottle tree. I have my antique bicycle with some actinium in it. I was hoping this actinium would trail all the way down to the mulch, but for somehow this actinium didn't grow as well as the one in that black pot right there. I'm not sure why. Maybe the size of the pot doesn't give it room. This is a baptisia that is in the ground. Yes, this blue that you see is tarps. Tarps I'm using as landscape fabric. They are the tarps you could get from Harbor Freight, but I think I purchased a lot of them from Ross. When I tell you, I was using the black landscape fabric. Probably not the contractor's landscape fabric, probably the one that's not that thick, but you talking about an overflow of weeds. It was ridiculous how many weeds that would grow over the winter into the spring. Just like you see these weeds popping through. I had weeds like that everywhere. So instead of me getting the high grade black landscape fabric, I got a few tarps from Harbor Freight. And that is how I line this flower bed. Maybe it's something I shouldn't have done. For all you guys that don't like landscape fabric or thinking that tarp was a bad idea, when the winter comes and it gets a lot cooler, I'm going to come in and make sure I cut a huge hole around everything that's in the ground. Just like here, just like this one. You see that the hole I cut for rain and watering is not as wide as it can be. Wherever you see this, and that's why I'm really not concerned with, I've been seeing a lot of these spiders. Someone comment down below and tell me what kind of spider that is. I've been seeing a lot of them. I guess they come out at this time because they're that size and they're hatching, and there's no need of me killing it because I'm sure it's lots more left. I do treat my flower beds with some insect granules I get for bookworms and spiders and any other garden insects to control them at bay. So we'll take care of that soon. Again, back to the tarp. When it gets cooler, I'm going to make sure wherever you see this blue, I'm going to widen the circles around all my trees that are in the ground. Just like you can see here, I'm going to widen, probably take away all this blue here in front of the daylilies so the daylilies will get more rainwater and more rain because sometimes when I water it, it just it doesn't get down to the root, I'm thinking. That's why I'm not really getting that much growth on all these daylilies. So during the winter, I'm going to make sure I cut away these tarps to have a bigger circumference for the tree. You can see that as well. I need to widen the circle, cut away a lot of the tarp for this evergreen arborvitae. I will do the same for this fire chief, and this will give you a great picture of what I'm saying. When I tarp the area to keep the weeds at bay, I did cut a hole for rainwater and even when I water it myself. But I think I'm definitely gonna cut away all this green tarp you see around that teacher. I need to do the same for everything that's in the ground. You can see this with that blue spruce on how small of a hole I cut at the first time, but I'm definitely gonna widen that hole. I'm probably gonna make sure all the tarp is cut away to give it at least a 3 by 3 feet width around the tree, so rain, water, and fertilizer could come in. I hand water all of this. All of this is hand watered. I don't have a drip system. Drip system is the last thing on my mind. It would be wonderful if I could, but it is the last thing on my mind. This is some faux grass that I got from a liquidator store. And I do have to cut it away because I do have some plastic edging to separate this bed on this side. And I pretty much put this down to kill the grass. I may make it a brick border like the entrance to my fence, and I may just keep this faux grass in. I'm not sure. But that is a tour of my large oval 40 feet flower bed. The reason why there's so many different varieties because I want to be a plant collector. This is my business. This is my hobby. I am a self-made horticulturer. I will be able to have garden tours and teach garden lessons as well. I definitely would be highly educated on all the varieties I have. How can you be a self-claimed horticulturer if you're not raising different varieties in your own yard? That is a garden tour of my oval flower bed. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. And the trees that I don't know, I just threw the tags away. I just didn't continue to repeat what I have to put it in my memory bank so it won't go away. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions, put them down below. Any comments? If you definitely know what that sucker is, let me know. If you know what the name of this shrub, let me know. If you know what the name of this spiked grass is, I would love to know. And I would try to put it in my memory bank. Thanks for watching.